Letitia James is one crappy lawyer. The loss that she is taking is a big one. Just as so many people said, you can't fine a guy for doing something where nobody lost any money. I'm Tony Katz. This is Tony Katz Today. Flederman Von Reist, vonreist.com. You want to check that out? Let's start the radio show. You got to feel bad for Letitia James. Nope. Wait a second. No, you don't. No, you don't at all or in any way. Tony Katz. Tony Katz Today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669. 833 got Tony. An appellate court in New York throwing out the $500 million penalty against Trump in the Letitia James civil case. Letitia James, the Attorney General of New York, another person who claimed that she had residency somewhere else to get better mortgage rates, which is interesting because that was the argument. Trump overinflated his value, got favorable terms on a loan. Well, that's not allowed. The banks lent him the money. The banks knew the risks. The banks set the rate. Trump paid back the money. And that's the story. That is the whole and complete story. He overinflated the value of his properties. I don't believe he's the first person to do that. And the people who need to figure this one out are the people lending him the money. If they did their due diligence, then what's the issue? He didn't lie about owning the properties or anything else. He said the property's worth X. And the bank said, okay. They never checked on their own. He didn't say I owned a property that I didn't own. No. That didn't happen. So Letitia James, being the partisan progressive that she is, goes after him in a civil court. He is found guilty. It's what, $434 million? It would have been basically with interest, $500 million, $500 million. He's got to put up money to fight this thing and everything else. And the appellate court throws out the civil fraud penalty against the president. Why? Because the penalty violated the Eighth Amendment. This is so good. This is so fantastic. The Eighth Amendment. Excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. Honestly, at some moment, you just gotta let loose. You just gotta be like, my gosh, this is the greatest thing. What an unbelievable thing our Constitution is.
Yes, 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 yes. Oh, God. Oh.
A crime allegedly where no money was stolen, where everybody got paid back $434+ million. Of course it was excessive. Of course it was abusive. Of course it was wrong. It's part of the lawfare. The continual nonstop attacks against the president and again against you for voting for him. I will keep reminding people of this every chance I get. Everything that you see is about you. This is about your government attacking you because you didn't do what you were told. This decision is just delightful. The 5-member panel, all of them upheld findings that Trump and his company were liable, affirming that James acted within her authority and that injunctive relief to curb the Trump organization practices was appropriate. The ruling leaves liability intact, eliminates the financial penalty. So I would still argue that in and of itself is problematic. But if you want to say, hey, you claim something that isn't there, we think that's wrong. But the idea that the penalty is $500 million, well, that's just ridiculous. The justice issuing a dissent, writing that James's true aim was political in nature, and argued that the entire case, like I would have argued, should be dismissed, writing that Letitia James's ultimate goal was not market hygiene, but political hygiene, ending with the derailment of President Trump's political career and the destruction of his real estate business. Yes, absolutely. She was trying to destroy a person. She wasn't looking for justice. But what is new about this? Isn't this exactly what the left has done time and again 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 and again? Oh, God, I just got into a loop right there. My gosh, that was rough. Whew, don't let that happen to me again, all right? Thanks. The objective of all of these people on the left is destruction, not the application of the law, not a recognition of right versus wrong, but what can be done to destroy every single part of this leftist machine from coast to coast is Laventry Beria, right? It's running the secret police in the Soviet system. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. We'll find something. We'll create something. We'll do something. That's who they are. That's what they do. The question before us is, how many more times will you have to see it? How many more times do you have to see the lawfare before you realize what it is? Now, while I make the statements, and I make the statement, I think appropriately, that this has always been about you. This has really not been about Trump. It's about you not following their rules. I am convinced of this. I will debate this. I'll do it all, boo-boo. It should not be left without recognition that what Trump has had to deal with and what he has walked through with a smile, with a sense of humor, while getting shot, it's unbelievable. And it's so easy to understand why it is he has a base that the left cannot come close to emulating. They have no one. Zero. They do not have anyone on the left at all who gathers an audience. No, wait, take that back. They have Taylor Swift. Not even Michelle Obama gathers an audience, garners an audience anymore. Look at her podcast. All right, she might get more listeners than me, but that's not saying anything. Taylor can still get and mobilize an audience. I got to assume she's a Democrat. There's nobody else on the left who can do this. What actor? George Clooney? Nope. Who is the Broadway guy? Billy, can't remember his last name right now, but no. There's no musician. You think Tom Morello, Rage Against the Machine, can actually motivate people to some type of electoral victory? Absolutely not. What Politico? Buttigieg? Eric Swalwell? Jasmine Crockett? Jasmine Crockett, who has now come to the unique conclusion that all white people need to get out of Texas and bring themselves to Arkansas. I'm sorry, you think I can make that up? I couldn't make that up if I wanted to make that up.
It is going to be so important, no matter what happens, that we get as many of you as possible to flood our state. Like when it's election time, I want them to be so mad that they did all of this, because we have people coming from the entire country to Texas to make sure that this little scheme that they tried to pull, where they were just going to steal and diminish the voices of Black and brown people, I want us to be so loud that they actually go running and trying to figure out what's that little racist town they all hiding in, in some, what is it, Missouri, Arkansas. I think they all ran to Arkansas. That's where they need to run off to. That's how I want them to feel after this election. So no matter what happens, I need y'all to stay in this fight, because literally the war is just starting. All right. Bye, y'all. Sleep well.
Literally. She wants you to know. First of all, if we're talking about where all the racists ran off to, I was pretty sure they ran to Illinois. Okay. You weren't ready for that. Sorry there, Representative Crockett. Just all the racists have to go to Arkansas. This is the leader. This is who they have. And by the way, no one's trying to limit your voice, Representative Crockett. I am desperate to have more people hear your voice. I want more people to hear what it is that you have to say. All of the absolute madness that you discuss. My gosh, I gave you a theme song. I gave you a segment on the show. Jasmine Crockett must be Stira. I even gave it a funny voice. No one's trying to diminish you. Everybody should hear what a nut you are. Everyone. There's no one who can do what Trump's doing. And we should be clear that Republicans have something that the Democratic Party does not have. And that is a bench. Democratic Party doesn't have a bench. We have Vance and Rubio. You got to imagine Sean Duffy is thinking about it. We still have senators who can be engaged here. We've got people. Is DeSantis done? I don't think he thinks he's done. Democrats have nothing. Now, this leads into a much larger conversation about why don't they learn, but we'll get to that. But this regarding Letitia James and the appeals court is fantastic, because the judgment was always insane. It's nice to see that the courts recognize that. Now, the question is, did Letitia James abuse her position? And if so, what do we do about that? Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz. Tony Katz today. Like the camera moved. That's weird. It did, right? Doesn't usually pick up this. This is my connection to the radio station. A little old school, but it works beautifully. I don't think it matters that it's there, but it's usually not. It's usually not. Oh, I know why. That's why it's not there. Forgot my little banner. I'm like, that was just all weird. Like something was very, very off. Now I know. Good to be with you. What's going on? What are we talking about? What are we doing? Let me go to the comments right here. Interesting conversation. Why isn't anyone making a connection to the lack of demand for housing and the 2.2 million immigrants who have left America in the last 8 months? I think it's the other way. There's an absolute demand for housing. That's been the story. There's not enough housing. So the question is, has this lessened the demand for housing? If you've got a link, post it or send it to me, Tony@TonyKatz.com. I would love that. Absolutely love to see that. By the way, the pissed off Christoph from Glen Case is, I think, the cigar that saved them, because they had cigars and the cigars to me were not really acting great. And then the only thing that was really working was the pissed off. And then they did this relaunch, the Nicaraguan, the Tres Compadres, the Vengeance. And yeah, now it's a line you happily smoke again. But I think the pissed off Christoph is the only thing that for a while there, they could hang their hat on. It's a big cigar, but it's a lot of fun. Back to the show, everybody. So Ed Martin, former U.S. Attorney for D.C., Associate Deputy Attorney General, Eagle Ed Martin is what he goes by on the Twitter X, has the documents that show that Biden's own Department of Justice warned against auto pen clemency, meaning the pardons. Tony Katz today, what are you doing? Find everything I do over at TonyKatz.com. Go be a part of it. Great if you would. And don't forget, tickets.TonyKatz.com. This Saturday in Westfield, Indiana, myself and actor Nick Searcy from Hollywood to the Heartland. The barbecue, the desserts, the bourbon from a great place called West Fork Whiskey. That's where we will be. Great distillery. And cigars, of course. Everything I do has a cigar. I'm smoking one right now. This is the Aging Room Maduro, right? So this is the Nicaragua is their more, I would say, higher end, flavorful smoke. But this is just a nice Maduro. Works great for the show. Probably find it online in a bunch of places, a bunch of those spots. The Aging Room Maduro is what I'm smoking. That night, we'll be smoking Arturo Fuente from Blend Bar Cigar, blendbarcigar.com. It's going to be a fantastic night. Tickets.TonyKatz.com. You're going to eat, you're going to drink, you're going to laugh, you're going to smoke, you're going to fall in love. It's just that easy. We knew from the beginning, the minute you started looking at the pardons and you looked at signature, it was like, wait a second, this is not a signature. This is the auto pen. If a pardon doesn't have a presidential signature, is it a pardon? And I argue it is not. And you could say, well, the president authorized it with his intent. You could argue that intent is enough here. But you would also have to argue that the president was cogent, was fully aware, because what the president gave was a level of parameters about who could get clemency, not specificity on who could get clemency, and then auto-penned that. So how do you handle it? How do you put that together? So the release on these documents state they're from the Department of Justice, Biden's DOJ, from a Bradley Weinsheimer. And it reads, I think the language offenses described to the Justice Department, unquote, in the warrant is highly problematic. And in order to resolve its meaning appropriately and consistently with the president's intent, we will need a statement of direction from the president as to how to interpret the language. And they put 4 possibilities, and they say the only one of them is satisfying. Right? That one of the ways to do this is unsatisfying because it renders the language superfluous, which couldn't be the intent. It's also likely will result in commutations in circumstances, including for crimes of violence, that was not intended. So the first issue they had is this is so broad and so poorly written that people could get commutation who absolutely shouldn't, who are in jail, in prison, who were adjudicated guilty for violent offenses. The second one has a problem in its interpretation because that it is a guess as to what is meant by the warrant language and goes beyond the 4 corners of the warrant, something we do not normally do. This is Biden's DOJ. 2 days before the end of his term saying, what are you guys doing? This isn't going to work. Number 3, because no offenses have been described to the department from the president, the commutations do not take effect. How are we supposed to engage clemency when we don't know what it is we're providing the clemency for? And then he puts number 4, saying this one could work. There is yet to come clear direction from the president giving meaning to the language, quote, for the offenses described to the Department of Justice. Ideally, this would be a list as to each inmate listing the offenses that are covered by the commutation. By far, this is the clearest and least problematic alternative. Given the above, writes the DOJ, quote, I think it best that we receive a statement or direction from the president as to the meaning of the warrant language. Translation, to paraphrase President Trump, they don't know what the blank they're doing. And the DOJ didn't know what to do. The DOJ didn't know what to do with these clemencies. And those running the White House, those involved in the cabal, Neera Tanden and others, didn't care. Just get it done. Autopen, 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 autopen. Look what we did. Do we need any other bits of proof anywhere that it was a coup, that it wasn't Biden running the White House? And do we need any other proof that the administration was so completely and totally incompetent that the DOJ said, we don't know what to do with this. We know what you sent us. We've read it. It doesn't mean anything. Not a single specific, not a single detail. What do you want us to do? There's no there there. And therefore, who would this apply to? So it was a cabal, not Biden running the country. It was a coup against the American citizen, and they were morons. Well, that's what we call a progressive trifecta. This is Tony Katz today. Man, it's brutal right there. Absolutely brutal. Oh, Comer is talking. Oh, there's some good stuff regarding Biden's fitness. I should have played that earlier. I will get to that. I will get to all of that coming up in just a little bit. You've got questions. Why? Okay, we're back to the housing. So why isn't that driving down housing prices? Well, this is my question. You talk about 2.2 million people, right? And so let's go with that number just for the sake of the conversation. 2.2 million people have left. Shouldn't that mean more housing for everybody, thus increasing supply, thus reducing demand, thus bringing down prices, right? Basic economic theory. We aren't answering a couple of questions. First, are we making the same assumption as to the type of dwelling they were inhabiting? Meaning, what kind of conditions were these people living in? Were they conditions that would be rentable, sellable to people who weren't in the country illegally? Second, how many people were inhabiting the dwelling in question? When I went out to Springfield, Ohio, right, Haitian migrants, and they're eating the dogs, eating the cats. What I learned from my trip was they're not eating the dogs. They're not eating the cats. They're absolutely eating the geese. And car accidents are through the roof. The local services were strained. No question, that was all happening. Not this other stuff. But one of the things that we learned is that housing became a real premium. And housing was a premium because these Haitians were getting these government vouchers, and therefore the landlords could make much more from the government than they could from the market. And so they stopped renting to the market and only rented to people who had the government voucher. And not just one person to a house, 8 people to a house. So to answer the question, we do not know the habitat, and we do not know the amount of people in it. With that, without that information, I can't answer your question, because your question is, well, wait, if you have less people, that's less demand, more supply, prices go down. I think, Walker, that's a solid point, but we don't have the other data pieces to be able to allow us to figure it out. That's my response to you. They can eat all those Canada geese they want. Get them the flock out of here. Did you write that yourself? Oh, bravo, Canada. Bravo. Oh, that's a good joke, producer Landon. You are an easy audience, is what you are. All right, what do we got next? What's going on? Anything breaking? Throw in a news story for me. Tell me what I should be talking about. Cracker Barrel didn't do. Shall we? Fine. I will do Cracker Barrel, producer Landon. Oh, I've been staying away from this story. I'm going to say this once, and only once. I'm going to say this clearly, and I'm willing to fight about it. We shouldn't fight. We should love each other, but I will open every can of worms there is and care not. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Here is my take from me to you. You do not care about the Cracker Barrel rebrand, and everybody complaining about this just wants a click. Every single person on social media saying, I can't believe Cracker Barrel did this. Oh, this rebrand is so terrible. I'm not going back. You are all ridiculous children, desperate for attention. You are absolutely shameful. Why would anybody give you a click? You lying frauds. What makes you any different than Rosie O'Donnell saying, I moved to Ireland because everything is better than in Ireland than in the U.S.? You don't care. You absolute lying lowlife freak. Here's the story. Cracker Barrel has a new logo. The old logo had the guy on the chair and then the barrel. like an actual barrel. And then the name Cracker Barrel looked like it was inside like a giant yellow bean, and everything's written in brown. It says Old Country Store. You go to the Cracker Barrel and you get yourself some biscuits with gravy, and you play some Chinese checkers. And then basically Cracker Barrel is Buc-ee's without the super clean bathrooms. Basically is what it, without the size either. That's all. That is all it is. That's Cracker Barrel. I have nothing against Cracker Barrel. I think the people are like, I think I saw Noah Rothman from National Review is like, I think the real story here is that Cracker Barrel is terrible food. And I say to you, Noah, them be fighting words. Stop letting your elitism show. It's fine. It's all fine. And so is the new logo. It's not great. It's basically, I don't know, it's basically a hexagon, and it says Cracker Barrel in it. They got rid of the barrel, they got rid of the guy, they got rid of the chair. It's the first time in 48 years that the logo only features text. Okay, what's the issue? You don't care. No one does. You know what you care? You care that they're open after you've been driving for 9 hours and it's 11:30 p.m. and the hotel you thought you were going to stay in is too disgusting to stay in, and you figure, well, I better eat something and I can keep driving for 5 more hours and I can get home. That's what you care about. That's it. But yet here we are in America saying, oh, what a horrific, horrific logo. Do I have a copy of the logo here? I've got a copy of the logo right here. I'll bring it to you. Listen to me carefully. It ain't great, but it's not the end of the world. It just says Cracker Barrel. Ta-da. But everybody's angry about it. There's social media outrage, ladies and gentlemen. Social media outrage. Could we not? There are real things to be outraged by, and this isn't it. The stock is down 7. Right? I do not own any Cracker Barrel stock for the sake of clarity, full disclosure. Certainly not that I know of. I don't think anything I own owns Cracker Barrel stock. $51.75 a share. That's where it's at right now. It opened at, I think it's down, 727 from the pre-market? Yeah, the open was 56.77. So now it's at 51.75. So the most it's been down today is 727. It's just not a thing, guys. I think the people complaining about it have nothing better to do, and we should find something better to do. Much, much better to do. Like discuss the fact that Volkswagen is completely insane. Now, this is a story to be outraged by. There's a difference. Here is the Volkswagen story. Now, if you're a car person, explain it to me like I'm a 5-year-old. Because it's possible that what they're doing is just standard and I don't know it. Volkswagen has a car called the ID3. It is their electric vehicle, right? It's fully electric, I believe. It's a fully electric vehicle. You buy this car, boom, you get yourself a car. You get yourself the ID3. Fine, great, whatever. You enjoy it. According to Fortune, they are offering customers, quote, an optional power upgrade. That power upgrade increases the horsepower from 148 to 168. If you want the 20 extra horsepower, you pay $22.50 a month. Or you can pay an extra $878 for a lifetime subscription. This is what we're doing. One of the reasons I like an older car. Don't get me wrong, I drive So some newer stuff I've bought. I have a local car dealership that I do work with called Andy Moore Ford, a Ford dealership. I've got the Bronco Badlands, and it is spectacular. It is. It's great. The first Bronco I had, I didn't enjoy. This Bronco, tremendous. From that same dealership, for my wife, we got a Bronco Sport. It's a 3-cylinder. I think it's sensational. Full disclosure, that I know of, I do not own any Ford stock. I simply work with the local dealership. I've enjoyed them. I'm happy to support a sponsor any day of the week. But I like older vehicles because I don't want this madness of the computer. I want to be able to tune it up myself. I want to be able to do the work myself or hire somebody to do the work. And that's it. There has long been a conversation of you buy a car, but the technology belongs to the manufacturer. So therefore, you can't really do anything to your own vehicle because you don't own that tech. That's crazy, right? Like that is insane. Why would I want that? Why would I do that? I own the car. I get to do to the car what I want. It is mine. The idea that somehow there is something proprietary that I'm not allowed to add on, take off, maneuver, that's nuts. It's my vehicle. I should be able to do anything I want to it. So I always thought that was crazy, and I know that has been a conversation for a while, but now there's this. $20 for horsepower. $22.50, sorry. Is this normal? I mean, is it? Is this normal? Is this the way we're going? It's interesting that Fortune started the article by saying guacamole costs extra at Chipotle, so does an extra shot of Starbucks. The difference is, I get the guacamole, I eat the guacamole. And I am a fan of extra guacamole on my Chipotle. Huge fan. I don't worry about extra shots at Starbucks because Starbucks is only worthwhile when you're traveling. Otherwise, drink local coffee. Always drink local coffee. And certainly Dunkin' Donuts over Starbucks every day of the week and twice on Sunday. No, Dunkin' Donuts over Starbucks every day of the week. I don't call themselves Dunkin' Donuts anymore. It's Dunkin'. Dunkin' over Bucks every day of the week. Come at me, bro. Good Lord. Now, Mark there in the chat room as we're live streaming, you can find it on YouTube, youtube.com/Tony Katz, says Tesla's been doing this for a while. Okay. Why do I see a difference? I could be wrong. Why do I see a difference in those things? Maybe I'm wrong. I see a difference between Tesla and Volkswagen. But people are paying for a subscription to get the larger engine, or why not just buy the larger engine? Now, if you told me it came with 3 different kinds of engines, I could see it. Maybe my problem is I'm thinking old school. Maybe if you can spend an extra $878 for the lifetime subscription, it's like getting the bigger engine. So maybe it's just my way of not connecting with the whole thing. Maybe I'm wrong in this case. But I heard this story. I'm like, this is so weird. Now, what happens if I'm leasing the vehicle? If I'm leasing the vehicle, do I have to pay a larger lease to get the bigger amount of horsepower? In every situation, this leads to something not good, right? This leads down the road of you don't own what you actually own. I mean, that's where we're going. If I buy it, I just want to buy it. So can we please, if we could, get back to selling cars with gasoline engines that you could fix in your own driveway? That would be great. And for the record, Dunkin' is better than Starbucks. But yeah, Tim Hortons Yeah, it's probably better than Dunkin'. Well, that puts me on the side of Canada, not America. Oh, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be an issue. This is Tony Katz today. I don't know. I like that music. Right. You've never been to a Tim Hortons, producer Landon? You should get to a Tim Hortons. The coffee is very good. The donuts at Tim Hortons are better than Dunkin', but I think Dunkin' long ago gave up their donut game. Growing up, a Dunkin' donut was a real treat and very good. Now, I'd go local for donuts. But, I mean, they are franchisees, so they are local, so I don't mind being supportive at all. Hold on. The Otter Creek says, Starbucks is superior, willing to meet up, fight it out, and then share a cigar and sportsmanship. Well, that's lovely. But when we're done fighting it out, you're not going to be able to smoke a cigar. They don't allow cigar smoking in hospitals. Producer Landon in my ear is like, got him. I got to figure out how to route you into the thing, man. I really do. There it is. Truck stop coffee is the best. No, truck stop coffee should be the best, Matthew. I wholeheartedly agree. I can't figure out why they can't do it. How does Pilot not have the greatest coffee imaginable? Now, if we're talking about the convenience store wars, right? And yes, you have had decent coffee from McDonald's. This all happened when Starbucks tried to get into the breakfast game, which was McDonald's whole game. That's how McCafe came about. Starbucks started to do the egg bites and this and that and was biting into McDonald's. And McDonald's was like, have we met? Do you know who we are? Breakfast is our game, bitch. Let me show you how it's done. And that's when that's when they went nuts. That's when they went nuts. They absolutely doubled down. And they do have good coffee. Wawa is the best. It's an East Coast thing. It's moving more Midwest. It's here now in Indiana. Wawa is the best. Dusty, I am going to quote American Gods and tell you that tea is disgusting. Tea is gross. This is why this show does so poorly in Great Britain. Tea is horrific. Thank you. I'm glad we had this talk. I feel better.
Breaking news to bring you now. This is from Berlin. German prosecutors say they have arrested a suspect, a Ukrainian citizen, involved or suspected of involvement in the 2022 Nord Stream gas pipeline explosions. The Ukrainian citizen suspected of that incident, which damaged the gas pipelines that run between Russia and Germany. Well, German prosecutors say they were arrested on Thursday. The suspect, as by German privacy laws, has only been identified as Serhiy K., was arrested in Italy's Rimini province overnight. That's according to the federal prosecutors of Germany. They added he's believed to be one of the coordinators of the operation. Like I say, this is on suspicion of being linked to this arrest.
All's fair in love and war? No. Oh, that's not the news you want as you're trying to create a peace deal with the Russians. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. 833-468-8669. 833 got Tony. That's how you get to be a part of the show. I have more coming up from James Comer, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee, specifically on more people testifying about Joe Biden's fitness. I have that coming up. And my God, Gavin Newsom does not care about his state at all. But this is an interesting little development, as is the conversation about India getting closer with China. The Washington Times had this story. Angered by America, India tilts toward China. I haven't dug into it enough to know if it's an actual anger. What is going on is that America is very upset with India for buying oil from Russia. And India's response is, we've got 1.3 billion people, 1.2 billion people. We are not about to have people stay in poverty because you don't want us buying cheap energy. We're going to buy cheap energy. Have a nice day. And then you have tariffs that have come on top of that. But you also have a geographical reality of India and China and shared borders and a host of things. So that they would have a relationship is not strange. They're both BRICS nations, right? Brazil, Russia, India, China. I forgot the S's right now. No one is surprised by this. Are they getting closer? Well, that could be definitely an issue. But are their desires really aligned? China's desire is control and reducing the power of the West. I don't know if that's India's desire. India's desire is about building themselves as a first world nation in all the spots in India where they can build themselves into a first world nation. It's about growth. So when I look at where these two are aligned, I don't think they're aligned unless things have changed under Modi. I don't think they're aligned geopolitically. India's purpose is different than China's purpose. So I wonder how much of this is on the up and up versus standard. But anytime you see 2.5 billion people, 2.4 billion people aligning, you should be aware of it. This is Tony Katz today. Hold on a second. Jennifer Morris loves tea. This is also Jennifer's last time in the chat room. Tea is disgusting. I have spoken. Thank you. Honestly, drink all the tea you want. Just don't make me do it. That's it. Guys, the radio show is in break, so we will be in a break. Kick back, relax, smoke them if you got them. We'll be back to it soon enough. We've got more show to do. Stay right here. And do not forget to get your Flederman Von Riest. That is the Einheit right there in the Victory Blue. They've got them in a bunch of colors, the Nightfall Black, the Silver. Check them out for yourself. Go to Von Riest, R-I-E-S-T-E, vonriest.com. Use promo code CATS. Get your discount. Go to vonriest.com and get your discount. Do it right now. Get your watch. Timepieces that are going to last, that are durable, that are worthy, that are going to pass down through the generation. Your kids will wear it. Make the right investment. Wear it on Sundays. Wear it every day. Your choice. Von Riest, R-I-E-S-T-E, vonriest.com. Assembled here in Indiana. Get yours today. Guys, kick back, relax. We'll be back. Stay here. Welcome back, everybody. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything over at TonyKatz.com. As a matter of fact, I didn't get I don't think the show sheet is up from yesterday. Let me get that done right here. Boom. Get that up over there at TonyKatz.com. Go like, subscribe, follow, support, do all the things. If you would. Show sheet. I can't believe I forgot. I should have people for this, shouldn't I? Yeah, you know, my first problem is I'm going to need some people. So Sarah has been taking care of a bunch of stuff. Sarah does other stuff. But I hope she will be back to the full timing it very, very, very soon. Sarah's great. Sarah's terrific. Okay, a little bit of redistricting, a little bit of Newsom. There's no news breaking, is there? I don't think there is. I don't believe there is. So Texas did it. And now California's like, well, we're going to do it. And we'll show you. It's not the way it works. It's a political process. And if Texans want to redistrict, they can. It's up to them. But now in California,
for 10 million California voters who did not have the chance to vote on this and have their voices heard in 2010. Now, you might be wondering, who does that include? We got a couple of people on the floor today. My Republican colleagues from Tulare and Clovis, my Democrat colleagues from San Jose and LA, none of them were old enough to vote on this in 2010, and I think they should get the chance to vote on it this year.
They're talking about redistricting. I've made my argument. We will see how it plays out. My argument is, it is a political process. Texas decided to do it, engage in the redistricting, and it is up for the voters of Texas to see how this plays out, to see if they like it or don't like it, and then maybe to vote for or vote against the legislators that were in office who engaged the redistricting. What California is doing, that's retribution for the sake of party, not for the sake of the people. As a matter of fact, they are saying, for the people, be damned. Listen to the former senator from Missouri, Claire McCaskill.
Claire, you talked about the districts being drawn, and it's just it's so unrepresentative, and it's so insane. And at the end of the day, you just spur parties, the other party, to do the same thing in other states. And so here we go.
No. The people of Texas can say whether they like it or not. You encourage people to do in other states. What, they have no self-control? It's Texas's issue. What do they care? What you're saying is party first. Now, you can all argue, well, Trump wanted 5 more votes. Well, maybe he did. Texas looked at their lines and looked at their situation and said, there's an issue here. This isn't drawn properly. Bad census in 2020, a whole host of things. That's up to them. Why is it up to California to make things right? Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. If I didn't already say that, I forget sometimes. Senator McCaskill answering the question from Joe Scarborough on MSO, what cares what they call themselves?
Again, and you know, that's I've said it before, I'll say it again. People always ask, hey, why are things so divided in Congress? Say it goes back to gerrymandering. I mean, it's that simple. I wish we could. I wish the court could revisit this. I mean, this is so insane. Or I wish we could have a constitutional amendment that would actually, end gerrymandering in the United States Congress and on state levels. It would make such a huge difference in the political discourse out there.
Maybe it would, Joe Scarborough, but it doesn't exist right now. So this is about fantasy. The reality is here.
Yeah, safe seats in the House create gridlock because the only thing a congressman or congresswoman worries about is a primary. It is a disincentive to compromise. It is disincentive to long-term legislation that actually businesses and citizens can rely on because it swings back and forth based on who has the majority. So this is bad for government. Right. But the answer to what Texas is doing is not for us, who say it's bad for government to bring our hands and go, oh, this is bad for government. It's to okay, fine. You want to do it? Let's dance. Let's go. Let's redraw every single state we can as Democrats to create more Democratic seats.
I accept your challenge. What are Republicans waiting for? I don't know. I have no idea what they're waiting for. I have no idea why they're waiting. I don't know what they think is going to happen. And I have no idea what Republican thinks, well, this is just, we're above this. No, you're not. It's time to grow up. Every Republican, every elected Republican in every state, what do you think you're above? Democrats are going to do this. They're advocating for this. If you want to argue that Republicans started the fight, well, you could have just said you disagree with them. They're not allowed to do this in Texas. That's the argument being made by the left. When they redistrict, it's fine. When you redistrict, it's a problem. Isn't that always the way they are? When they do it, it's perfect. When you do it, it's an issue. When you do it, how dare you? When they do it, why are you staring at us? Why are you noticing what we do? You're always staring at us. That's so weird. You're always so obsessed with us. Oh my gosh. And then they say it like that with the oh my gosh. That comes into play. I mean, MSNBC will prove it once again. Thank goodness I'm here to tell you what they're saying. Otherwise, who would hear what they're saying? Where Al Sharpton is out there once again with the conversation of this is all just racist. Redrawing the lines is racism. How about in California? Why are you worried about what we're doing in California? Every single time.
And Rev, we talked about it earlier in the show. There was
by the way,
a lot of Democrats.
If you're calling Al Sharpton Rev, why not just wear a sign that says IP sitting down? But it's Jonathan Lemire, so yeah, that might be accurate.
I spoke to and sort of hoped that Texas wouldn't go through with this because they themselves don't think this redistricting, this gerrymandering is a good idea. But now that it's happening, they say, look, it's time to fight fire with fire. And it seems like there's real momentum here. California, New York, maybe beyond. I would argue not good for the democracy, but the Democratic Party feels like it doesn't have a choice.
No, I think that it is real momentum because it is clear that the districts they're going after are not only Democratic, but they're mostly black or brown. And you're dealing now with the whole question of the voting rights and something that we've seen the Supreme Court chip away. Now we're seeing the actual moving of districts that has no kind of sense of making sure we have racial balance and balance that would show that we're representing a constituency. Now
Are you a citizen who lives in the district? There you go. I must say that this constant conversation of black and brown, everyone who's black thinks alike, it's insane. But that's the argument made by Al Sharpton. That's the argument made by the left constantly and consistently. And by the way, there are rules about what districts need to look like, etc. But as we'll get into the conversation, Ed Morrissey of Hot Air will join us in the next hour. the rules that were put in place and these commissions that were put in place to keep in place the gerrymandering that the left had already done. When they did it, it was fine. Now you want to do it, how dare you? If you want to argue that gerrymandering is bad, okay. No argument. Go right ahead. If you want to argue that it's against the law or it's bigoted, lame. Not against the law, not bigoted. They are well within their rights to do it. Well within. This redistricting conversation and what will come from it. One has to also note that while I do believe that Republicans need to be doing this, they need to be doing this. 10,000% they need to be doing this. You understand this can backfire, right? Oh, this can all backfire. What happens if you don't win? You redrew it and you don't win in 2026? Oops. Real high stakes stuff. Really is. But the idea that Texas can't do this is nutty. And the idea that California has to do this in response is Gavin Newsom saying that the people don't matter. The politics matter. Which is what Gavin Newsom has done with Bed Bath & Beyond. Marcus Lemonis, who owns Bed Bath & Beyond, said they're not going to open any more stores open any new stores in California. Can't open a new store in California. The business climate is just too difficult. Too many regulations. It just doesn't work. The governor, Gavin Newsom, instead of saying, hey, wait a second, we're a great place to do business. What are you thinking of doing? Let's talk. You should really be here. The governor writes, the company that already went bankrupt and closed every store across the country 2 years ago? Okay. The governor, California, didn't say, how can I bring more business in? Because it's possible that Marcus Lemonis is speaking not just for Bed Bath & Beyond, but for a lot of companies that have issue building in California. The very first Fox hit I ever did, I'm sorry, not the first Fox hit, the second Fox hit I ever did. First Fox hit was with Neil Cavuto about Arizona. The second one was it was a Fox and Friends weekend. Dave Briggs was doing the interview. And it was a conversation about the aerospace business in California and aerospace moving to Virginia. California's aerospace and aerospace is California. It was the home of it. I was living in LA at the time. And we were talking then about businesses leaving, and it's just continued at an accelerated rate. And the left, which has had the power, has not changed. And certainly Schwarzenegger didn't change anything. They haven't changed. They've only made it more difficult. They've only made the regulations and the environment more onerous. That's all they've done. Lemonis notes this, and instead of saying, hey, how can we bring you here? Gavin Newsom goes for the zinger. He goes for the attack. Hey, how can I show you? I'll get myself some likes on Twitter X, and that's the way to run a state or something. Crazy. Now, Lemonis responds, I thought your post would suggest we bring business leaders together to understand how to improve the 4 pillars and friction of business and find a way to make it better. You are a smart man, and I know the post below is out of frustration. They are opening up 300 small to mid-sized Bed Bath & Beyonds. They're still online, but they're going to be opening up these stores. And now Lemonis has got posts. What city should we come to next? $1,000 gift card for the first person to get it right. I have no idea at this stage whether anybody got it right. I didn't check. I did not check. But I will tell you this, it's not Sacramento. This is real hate for the people. Real hate for the people. Are Californians clamoring for redistricting? Or are Democrats in the General Assembly doing what it is the Democratic Party has told them to do? What about the people of California? Do they really want this? Do they want a state that says to business, We wouldn't want you. Get out of here, you losers. I called him a loser. Look at how tough I am. Or do they want someone who's like, hey, look, Californians, jobs? In two instances, you've got a governor who doesn't care about the people at all. But he really does care about getting himself to the White House. Oh, he's running. No doubt. I'm Tony Katz. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. Sorry about that, guys. Welcome back. Tony Katz. Tony Katz Today. Where is my stuff right here? All right, there it is. Another White House aide, Biden person speaking in front of House Oversight. Comer has got details. I will share that with you. And yes, Lamonis has a lot because he has Camping World, I believe. And he flies those giant American flags and the cities fine him and say, this is against code. He's like, I don't care. I'm flying it. They're like, well, we're going to fine you. And he's like, sure. Let me go get one of my many checkbooks. Doesn't care. One minute till the show. I come to you all. I do not. So is Jasmine Crockett's district going to be gone? Maybe in the Texas redistricting, how it's going to break up and where she sees her opportunities. I would like to have seen her lose on her own accord. Personally, I would have enjoyed that tremendously. I would have thought the world of that. About 30 seconds away from the radio show, guys. Just getting some stuff together. All right. James Comer, he is the chairman of House Oversight, speaking to the crowd assembled as Ian Sams was there to testify. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. Ian Sams was a Joe Biden aide, a spokesperson. He was a spokesman for Kamala Harris 2024. He was there as part of the Biden team. And Comer is like, well, interesting.
I want to go live now to Capitol Hill, where the oversight chairman, James Comer, has just popped out of the recorded transcribed interview with Ian Sams, a former aide of former President Biden. Let's listen in.
Joe Biden tell you this? Did Joe Biden send you an email himself? Well, no. So it raises serious concerns and serious questions about who was calling the shots in the White House. If the White House spokesperson is being shielded from the President of the United States, who was operating the Oval Office? I mean, this is what this whole investigation is about. That auto pen was used excessively, and yet no one can say for certain that Joe Biden was given the was given the orders to use the auto pen. And if you're using the auto pen to sign one document and Joe Biden's in the White House, 75% of the time when the document's used, why not have Joe Biden sign the document right there? Why have to go through all the bureaucracy of using the auto pen? I mean, this was a huge interview today.
I agree with this. Part of what was learned was that Sams, who had vowed repeatedly how healthy Joe Biden was, only interacted with him on 2 occasions. You could tell if by twice seeing somebody what they're all about. You were a former special assistant. You only interacted with him twice?
And I think it contradicts everything that the former Biden people are saying with respect to the president's mental fitness. There were very few people that were around Joe Biden, especially at the end. And that's when the majority of the pardons and executive orders were signed with that auto pen. I mean, I can't say this enough. I want to say this one more time so everyone understands. Ian Sams, who was the White House spokesperson for a significant amount of Joe Biden's time as president, interacted with him 2 times. 2 times.
You understand the argument being made here by Comer that the team kept such a tight lid on Joe Biden. People were not allowed to see Joe Biden. They weren't allowed to ask questions. They weren't allowed to connect because Joe Biden was so far gone that's right. I forget that Sams was a spokesperson, special advisor, twice. I'm assuming that Trump sees special advisors twice a day. Twice. That's a gigantic story and just more proof of what it is that we already knew.
You say, though, in his 2 interactions with him that the president was mentally sharp?
Oh, of course he did. Yeah, well, he had to. He said that in front of you all 100 times.
But in the air, when he announced he'd only been with him twice, during those 2 times, did he describe the president as mentally sharp?
Well, he had to, absolutely, because he said that, for hours and hours and hours of press conferences and TV interviews on MSNBC and CNN.
Did you get any indication about what kind of legal advice the White House counsel, I mean, he was a spokesperson, like what the White House counsel was giving Biden as far as legal advice for using?
Well, he said that most of his talking points came from White House counsel. So, again, this is the president's spokesperson who has no communication with the president.
That's the story. That's the story. Every day, the proof of the cabal gets stronger. And it is my sincerest hope. And you'll notice that first it was Anita Dunn, now this not taking the 5th, but testifying, which goes back to why did the other people take the fifth? I mean, they're more than entitled to. It's their right. But they did not want to engage self-incrimination, but Anita Dunn and Ian Sams testified. So what were they concerned about incriminating themselves on? The court of public opinion knows it's all shady. And this is a story for 2026. This is Tony Katz today. You are appreciated. Can't thank you enough for being here. Don't forget to get your Flederman Von Riest. Look at that beauty right there. Go to vonriest.com. Use a promo code KATZ, K-A-T-Z. Get your discount assembled in America. Honestly, a timepiece that you're going to love. Bunch of different models, a bunch of different looks, bunch of different colors, styles, etc. Man, they do great work. Thrilled to be working with them. Go to Von Riest, use promo code KATZ, and get your discount. And tickets, yeah, you can still go get them. I mean, other people know, but you can. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Oh, no, that was the wrong thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. I meant to hit this. From Hollywood to the Heartland, myself and Nick Searcy, the actor, Justified, Runaway Jury, Castaway, Fried Green Tomatoes. He has done so many things. And he's going to be there. Stories about Hollywood, stories about DC, with the making of 2 documentaries on January 6th, and why he came to the Heartland, now living in Kentucky. Tickets.tonykatz.com. Tickets.tonykatz.com. You want to get your tickets. Do it now. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic night. Guys, I appreciate you being here. I will be back tomorrow at noon. Catch you then. And until then, thank you. Seriously. Appreciate it quite a bit. All right? Take care.